Hello, everybody, and welcome back once again to another special interview regarding the EuroBowl tournament coming up in Greece this year. And I am joined today by the Finnish national team captain. Please do introduce yourself.
Hi guys, I'm Donald or Aku, whatever you want to call me. Been the captain for 2 years now because of the World Cup, and I'm heading to Greece with those seven gentlemen that you see on the screen there,
Hmm.
or
Well,
at least their nicknames.
yeah, they're whatever. There's one that particularly kind of jumps out at me. A certain someone.
Which one would that be?
Yeah. We'll get to that. I wonder, but
Okay, great.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting names overall. Apparently they're like I assume that are these have the like first off,
Yeah.
welcome to the stream. Glad to have you here.
Yeah. Thanks.
Uh,
Thanks for having me.
yeah, just as have these people, these gentlemen here, have they
hmm
been like a consistent presence in the Finnish national team, or are some of them sort of new to the timers?
There it's a mixed bag. There's one new timer, newcomer. The aforementioned Sex Machine
Mm-hmm.
it's his first time,
Yep.
but all the others have been around for a few years at least. Um, Evil Smoothie, I think, is and Brutopatia is it's his second time.
Mm.
It's my third time, yeah. So we're not pretty new team on the whole, but there was this COVID and stuff like that, so it has mixed things up a bit.
Mm.
But then again, we have few really old timers. Jeho, he's not an old guy, but he's been around since 2012 or something like that. And
Mm-mm.
Rat Ogre has been playing Blood Bowl for a long time in EuroBowl as well.
Mm. All
And
right.
yup,
Yep. We
uh,
have our first few comments in the chat. Hello, Bork, and hello to Yopotsuki. I believe he's a he's a team member here. He
yeah,
is. They are both commenting that your mic is much louder than the host, so I'm fiddling around a little bit. Hopefully that's
yeah,
better. Hopefully this is better. I have uh lowered your volume a little bit, and
okay.
I have tried raising mine. So if that helps, please let me know. Hopefully it's
Uh,
better. Um, but yeah. So how would you say is there a special because I've heard that there are some nations where the sort of selection process is a little different to others. Is
mhm.
there any sort of special qualification for the Finnish team, or is it essentially just like meritocracy in that whoever does the best gets in?
Do you really want to know if it's a beer drinking contest or is it still about Blood Bowl? Um, Actually, no. It's I'd say it's a dictatorship at the moment
Mm,
in Finland. In that sense that who's the captain,
mm,
who's elected,
mm.
he gets to set the way of choosing the team, and of course you have to be open and you have to be fair to everyone. But it's up to the captain how he chooses to assemble the team. And for example, this year I've chosen few guys from the best who did the best in the World Cup,
Mm-hmm.
and the rest are people that have been doing consistently good in tournaments, especially in NAF tournaments. But of course, I'm gonna take in consideration if they play on Fumble or Blood Bowl 3 or whatever. But
Right, right.
yeah, but because of the World Cup was such a huge thing, we started off with that, and the I think we picked two or three guys from just World Cup results.
Mm-mm. Well, fair enough. The
But
seems like a reasonable way to build up your team. Yeah, like taking all of that into consideration.
yeah, I think we're because Finland has this. The scene isn't as big as, let's say, in UK, even in Sweden. We have a bit more freedom
Mm,
to choose our team, and I think it fits our scene really good. So it's at least as a captain, I've tried to be as open as possible and tell our players how I'm gonna choose a team, and then I'm gonna pick people off one by one as the season goes on and stuff like that. But it's different in every country. We aren't as strict as, let's say, Sweden in picking people with who has the best results.
Mm.
We think about team, who's playing what team, what fits our current um, group of players and such.
All right. Yep, seems entirely all reasonable to me, but I will admit that I have a bias towards this particular team doing well in the tournament.
Hmm.
So like just putting that out there before anybody accuses me of having undue bias. I fully admit it. I'm honest about it. So you can stay in your lane, I guess. Um.
Right.
So yeah, looking at all of the races being represented in the team, most of these would be what people consider to be, on the sort of top of the list of these races are doing well in tournament competitions at the moment.
Right.
With one exception, I feel like one of them,
Dwarves.
yeah, the dwarves do stand out a little bit for Evil Smoothie.
Right. Um, we've been talking with Evil Smoothie. He's a dwarf player. He has a lot of dwarf games under his belt,
Mm,
and he tried different teams. And we've been thinking about it that our dwarf is the best for this meta. Um, he tried. I think he tried Corn. He tried mm, Tomb Kings, a few other tier ones,
mm, mm,
but we we always came back to dwarves. He's done really good with them. He's really consistent. I think in last EuroBowl he was the best in our team with dwarves,
mm,
and that was facing pretty good players. But so it's if we would pick solely on meta
mm,
and not think about coaches,
mm.
then probably we wouldn't have dwarves. But you always have to think about who's the best with the races that they're good with. So it's a combination of rosters and coaches and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course. Um, so looking since we are on the topic, we are now looking at the roster that is being put forth by the dwarves, and I am like slightly surprised. Uh,
Right.
like the two mighty blows, like and then four guards, one
Hmm.
apothecary, assistant coach, three rerolls. Like obviously, I'm not very like my tabletop experience is limited, so I don't really like
Hmm.
know them have the pulse of the meta at the moment. But
Hmm.
I'm slightly surprised that neither of the runners have any skills on them, as well as the fact that
Right.
that the dwarves are also running like three rerolls. It because like the dwarves to me like are one of the most sort of consistent teams like when it comes to like just straight out of the box, right?
Hmm.
So to me, like it's one of the teams where I could consider dropping one of the rerolls to maybe get something else. But obviously don't know what that would be for the like what that would look like for the dwarf team. So um
Um, I think the biggest question on his roster is the two mighty blows.
yeah.
Um, uh, I don't know how every country does their roster picking and stuff like that. We've discussed these,
Mm,
but in the end, it's the coach's own decision what
mm,
they want to go for.
mm,
And I would never go without three rerolls just because the dwarves are slow and
mm,
they end up doing desperate plays. They end up rolling a lot of rushes,
mm,
even 3+ dodges sometimes, stuff
mm,
like that, and they're gonna need the rerolls for that.
yeah.
Um, you cannot play perfect every game, every drive,
Yeah.
and you're gonna have to use those rerolls just to cover up the mistakes and well the whatever the opponent does.
Yeah.
So I think the three rerolls is a good cover for that.
Like I'm certainly like biased towards three rerolls in the sense that like I very much prefer playing with three rerolls like with pretty much any any sort of like race that I do play because of the consistency.
Yeah.
But yeah, dwarves is one of those where I could see that like because of the like you're gonna do a lot of blocking and you pretty much have like the necessary skill for that on most of your players already. So
Right.
so but yeah, the two mighty blows like especially the mighty blow on the lineman is
Mhm.
uh
I love it. I love it. I've that's my personal opinion. I'm not. Not many people share it,
mm,
but that mighty blow tackle is just. It just you're gonna leave that blocker in contact with people
mm,
all the time.
mm,
He's got just he might get blocked down, but you're gonna get him up, and he's gonna be standing next to people.
mm,
I think you'll get more consistent and better hits with that blocker than the Troll Slayer, and that's just that. But that's my. I don't. I'm not a huge frenzy. I'm not. I know the utility of frenzy, but
mm.
still, it's a difficult skill,
Yeah,
especially so you don't get that reliable blitz out of him every turn.
yeah. And it is one of those that like the dwarven slowness does play into like making the frenzy I feel even more difficult in like because it does
Indeed, yeah,
require positioning to
yeah,
properly
yeah.
guard against missteps there. So
I know, yeah. But still, it's gonna be a good team, but it's a very fast meta. So let's
mm,
see how it does. I trust Evil smoothly with dwarves any day. So it's not like he's gonna do good with them. I'm sure of that.
yeah. He does sound like a very sort of reliable veteran player to have on the team.
He's one of our newer, like younger guys, but he's played online a lot. So if you
Okay.
check his Blood Bowl 2 and Blood Bowl 3 stats,
Mm,
there's a lot of games there.
all right. Fair enough. Well, we'll move on one upwards then.
Sure.
Brutapatia.
Yeah.
Gaven. Um, this one looks about as expected, I would say.
Hmm.
With the leader on the thrower, guard and tackle on the blitzers, Juggernaut, Rat Ogre, two
Hmm.
sidesteppers for the gutter runners. No wrestle to be found.
Um, we've been talking about he's a good friend of mine,
Mm,
so we've been talking about the skills a lot. I think it fits his play style the best.
mm,
Sidestep can help you on defense. It can help you on in one turning.
mm,
It can help in multiple different ways. And I mean, when you have two of them, there's always one that you can offer as when you need on defense. You need to control the edge. You can put that guy on the edge without um, removing him from your one turner attempt.
yep.
So it's I think I really I personally would take wrestle,
Mm,
but I feel that this suits him, and I think he's a pretty aggressive guy
mm, mm.
when he gets to like really tough matchups. So I think that's why it suits him.
Yeah, no, that is understandable. It is one of those like strip ball to me. Then like if you're taking the two sidesteppers, has there been a consideration that maybe the strip ball should be a wrestle instead?
Um, some people I'm not I haven't played Skaven myself so much, but I think strip ball is an asset to have in almost every game, and in some games it might be the one thing that breaks the game,
Mm, mm,
because with wrestle you cannot you just brought let's say you go into a cage,
mm,
you drop the ball in the cage
mm.
in the cage instead of pushing the guy on the edge of the cage and then dropping the ball.
Yeah,
So I think it just gives you more control and more options. Of course there are games where strip ball does nothing, but that's what happens. For example, that's the same with tackle.
yeah, yep. Fair enough. All right. J-Ho? Is that how you're supposed to?
Yeah, he's called Yuho, so
Yeah,
it's Jeho.
yeah,
Jeho. So
yeah. I figured that was the case, but
yeah.
all right. Wood elves.
Well, I have to brag on Jeho because he's we can say for the next 3 years still he's the world's best wood elf. He has he he was the best Wood Elf in World Cup. So
Nice.
yeah, so he's even you Swedish watchers, you cannot argue that he's not the best. So yeah,
Good to have that sort of talent in your team, certainly.
indeed, and he's been playing for a long time, especially in World Cups.
Mm.
Even when the Finnish team was a bit rough, let's say, maybe think of doing more of the drinking than playing, but he's been our most consistent player
Mm.
since for over 10 years. So
We have Skuld or Robo in the chat saying that he
yeah,
wants revenge on Juho, and
yeah, I think that Swedes love him. Yeah.
uh,
But he's a good guy, and he's gonna beat you, and you're gonna thank him for it just because of that.
uh, all right. So looking at the skills, we have a strip ball tackle on the war dancers. We have
Right.
leader on the thrower. We have one sidestepping catcher, only two catchers
Hmm.
here, and then wrestle dodge lineman, and then a couple of linemen to round it out.
Hmm.
Apothecaries, one assistant coach, two reroll. Um, yeah. So we've seen like several Wood Elf sort of rosters, and they're all kind of slightly different.
Yeah.
The I do definitely like for me the wrestle on like having the one wrestle lineman there. I definitely approve. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it just gives you that flexibility just in case like when you come up against those teams that have quite a bit of block, you want to have
Hmm.
that one wrestle guy.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. And it'll give you the second or third block on scrimmage, and it's a really good thing to have all around.
Mm,
There's so many different kind of uses for it, and you can use it for sacking in the end of the day.
mm. Um, I'm curious, by the way. Have you talked to like Ho about like with the changes that happened in like moving to Blood Bowl 2020, like with the passing changes? Because like personally, I
Mm.
found that like it was a sort of nerf to the elf teams because like now there is the passing stat and now the linemen pass on a 4+, which
Hmm.
is not what you're used to when you come from like pre 2020 like Blood Bowl. So
Yeah, yeah.
have you?
We've been talking about a lot, and I think if it's been shown in the like all around meta that everyone thought first that wood elves and elves in all together are crap after
Mm,
that.
mm,
But I think people have learned to play around it and not rely on the throws so much.
mm,
For example, and it has done the thing that it's been looking for. That the throwers have gone up in value, just
mm.
not in gold value. But for example, having the thrower on wood elves
Yeah.
gives you a lot of freedom. It helps you in one turning. It'll help you in against vampires in like several different situations. But um, I think people have learned how to live with it. I think that's the biggest takeout out of it. I think well, there's a school to watching who's probably a lot better with wood elves or elves, but
Mm.
I think that's my take on it.
He is bringing dark elves into this tournament, though not running a
Yeah,
runner, just two assassins in there. Which I guess he definitely wants to find that wood elf opponent to stab. So
yeah, or my Amazons.
yeah. But yeah, I mean Amazon's even better because like you're not mostly movement, like you're not movement 7 and up, so the shadowing might actually work. Um,
Yeah, yeah. But then again, then I might draw him into blocks or something
yeah.
silly like that.
Mm. Oh, I do want to like it, just in case they're like if the volume levels are still kind of bad, like just checking that with the chat. Like do mention it if we need to turn me up or turn down either of us. So do let us know. But it's okay now. Good to know. All right. But yeah, you mentioned vampires. Um,
Yeah,
that's who we have next here. Yopotsuki,
yeah,
who was in the chat as well. So.
yeah. Yep, is our old captain,
Mm,
and he's been around for a long time. A long time, and as the same as I heard about what you guys were talking with the Swedes
Mm,
about. Our Yopo was playing Underworld
mm,
before,
mm.
and after the nerf, he changed to what vampires. Just a quick break. My wife wants to ask me something.
Yep, no worries. I'll keep the rest of them entertained. Yopotsuki, if you are in the chat, feel free to throw out your own comments about like your thoughts on the switch from Underworld to Vampire, because it is, those are two very different teams. Of course, but and like I've like a lot of people have said that vampires are very strong at the moment with like the hypnotic gaze. So
Yeah, yeah,
you know, um, but yeah, looking at this, it's a different roster to the vampires that we've seen so far, in that you have doubled up on skills there, but
right,
both of the double up skills went on the thrower, because in the I believe the Malton team vampires, they didn't double up on skills, and in the Swedish ones we had block, mighty blow on a blitzer, and then one blodging thrower. But you're two blodgers.
right.
The thrower is
Um,
the best player in the roster, says Yapatsuki.
yeah, yeah. That's the main, like, your workhorse. They
Mm,
can do everything. They're bloodlust only on 2+.
mm,
They're the best player on the team,
mm,
and of course you want to invest in them.
yeah.
I really don't agree on, for example, putting anything else on Vampire Blitzer other than, let's say, Strip Ball
Mm,
or maybe Frenzy or something like that. I think Yopo has the right roster. You could always have more
mm,
rerolls, but I think you'll need the thralls, um, just to make that roster viable. So,
yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, uh, movement 6, strength 4, AP, like AG
Agility, yeah.
2+, yeah, 2+ guys. That's just like a no-brainer to invest in those guys. I feel like
Yeah.
that's the way to go.
Yeah. And I mean, getting dodges on both of the runners, with their speed and their less strength, like that certainly also combos well for the throwers in the on the field. And
Mhm.
this does leave you like 4 team rolls. Is still generally plenty enough. Like it's not like the bloodlust is gonna like catastrophically cascade right during a
Yeah,
game. Like I mean, if it does, then having like 4 or 5 rerolls, like it doesn't make a difference at that point. Like the dice just shows that now you're bloodlusting, and you need to
yeah,
deal with
yeah.
it. So,
It's a difficult team to play in
mm,
the end anyway, so I think you need a lot of rerolls, and that's why I would even want to have 5.
mm,
But I think still, if when you know what you're doing, I think 4 might be plenty.
yeah,
That'll buy you a turn or two of very good defense or something like that,
yeah.
and that might win you the game.
Um, just that are like, because again, like vampires are not yet in on Blood Bowl 3. Like, where do
Hmm.
you think, like, against which type of team do you think like vampires really like shine? Because like I on the flip side, I can see that like committed bash teams could like start removing thralls at a rate that the vampires simply can't sustain, and they lose because of that. But I can also see that, like, well, generally bash teams aren't very fast, therefore like all like the hypnotic gazing and like the otherwise like the ability of the vampires to just get around like negates that, and like obviously relying on removals is not like a consistent battle plan a lot of the time.
I think the, like, elves and quick teams are the best. Like, they're the ones who have the easiest time against vampires,
Mm,
just because the let's say the two turner is pretty consistent.
mm, mm,
Um, you can you can even, like, end up the game with very high touchdown results.
mm,
But it's really hard. I would say very traditional teams like undead Amazons that rely on skills
mm, mm,
um, are 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 the most affected by the vampires, just because they have to have to stand next to the team. They have to go next to the vampire team and let them do their thing.
Mm,
And if the vampire finds the way of and um gets all the hypnotic gazes, then
mm,
you're gonna get through. But it's hard to say. It's one of those teams that is it's not bad against anyone.
mm,
You can I'd say something like orcs or might be a bit difficult because they don't rely on skills that
mm.
much.
Yeah.
They rely on strength and pressure
Mm,
and so stuff like that. But I haven't played that enough with vampires to say like very confidently what's their worst and best matchups. But
yeah.
it's
Well,
always a different ball game against vampires.
yeah, definitely. Like the hypnotic gaze makes sure that it's not gonna be a like your typical game of Blood Bowl at all at any. But yeah, Robo threw out Lizardmen but due to the fragility of the skink ball carriers, and then obviously the Saurus are gonna struggle of like disentangling themselves
Right.
from there. So good shout out for there. But moving on, we
Yeah.
have Nam or Face,
Yeah.
who is going to be playing the Dark Elves.
Yeah. He's
And
one of our really old online guys that he's
mm,
been playing. He has a bit of a he had at least a bit of a reputation online
mm,
being a very scary chaos bashy coach. But he's been around for our EuroBowl team, I think since Portugal.
mm, mm,
Um, but he's been playing a lot. I think he's one of those guys who it's going to be a difficult game against him every time, even whatever happens. But he's a very good positional coach.
mm. Plutocratia asked in the chat, will there be a VOD of this? I missed the beginning. Yes, there is going to be a VOD. It's going to be up on Twitch for about 8 days, and I am also going to be uploading it onto YouTube later, so you can find it there after the 8 days have passed. And Juicy Beer, do the namas. So you do have to tell me, does he vetää naamat joka kerta when a tournament is on?
There's one rule against when you're around with Nama that you
Mm.
don't give him sour beer or
Okay.
he's gonna be very Namat. Now we have our let's say our best tournament in Finland is
mm.
Mökki Bowl.
Mm.
Mökki Bowl, and it's a we rent your traditional Finnish summer cabin,
Yeah.
and there's 24 of us drinking and playing Blood Bowl,
Mm.
and I've never seen such a sad game of Blood Bowl being played against. There was an Nama against one of our other active guys.
Mm.
They were both lying horizontally, suffering from the yesterday's sour beers,
mm.
and I think it was around 3 or 4 vomits for the game.
Ooh.
So it was, but they managed to get there in the end, and they finished the match. So yeah. So indeed, he sometimes he does the Namat. Yeah.
Yeah. Heroic effort all around, definitely. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, Yoputsuki says that doing a Nama is not scoring on turn 16 to get to play overtime and bash more.
Yeah.
And Robo also apparently wants revenge on Nama. Unfortunately, Robo, you can only play one player, like if you come up against the Finns. So you do need to kind of decide on like where that revenge goes, or entrust that revenge to somebody else. Um,
Hmm.
all right, but looking at his roster here, he has a runner. He's got a runner with leader. He's got the 3 dodges on the Dark Elf Blitzers, as you do, and he's got both wrestles, like 2 wrestle Witch Elves, which, as I said, I'm personally a fan of block and wrestle for Witch Elf, like just
Me
having one
too.
of,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, sure, give me Yuho then, says Robo. All right, and I don't make those choices, so yeah. Sorry if I gave off that impression. But yeah, no assassins to be found. Just
Right.
linemen and the 2 rerolls making it.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, Dark Elves are just a very solid team, aren't they? Like even
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
with the amount
Indeed.
of skills here.
Right. And I think, as I said, Nama is a very positional, very risk averse player,
mm.
and I think that explains of the lack of assassins. I think most of the people run assassins at this point because in the meta is
Yeah,
pretty squishy.
yeah,
But I think we talked about it, and he just feels that this is the best choice for him. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And I mean, like there have like I have played a fair share of Dark Elves both like previously and in Blood Bowl 2020 version, and that, like there have certainly been times where I've been just sitting there looking at the assassin who had shadowing that never worked, and he has AV 8 plus, and he got stunned or KO'd because of the fact that he doesn't have the armor capacity of a lineman, and just been like,
Yeah.
yeah, like I paid extra for this. Uh,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I can understand
I,
it certainly.
I really want the one runner with leader. I
Yeah.
wouldn't run double assassins. I tried my Dark Elves out, and I played with
Mm,
one assassin and a runner, just
mm,
because then there's it's an asset, and like you can do stuff with it. You can dive the cages.
yeah.
You can do some random miracles here and there with it.
Yeah.
So it's a good piece to have around.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I am a fan of the Dark Elf Runner, like personally. Like I think that like just having the ability to like the passing on a 3 plus, the normal passing access, and
Hmm.
even the dump off has actually like come handy like multiple times for me. So
Right.
like I am certainly a fan of the Dark Elf Runner, and like in a tournament environment such as this, like just having access to that like cheap leader like rather than having to like go for the 3 rerolls.
Mm. Yeah.
I absolutely approve Dark Elf Runner.
Right. Yeah. He's a solid piece. Yeah.
All right, Rat Ogre. Uh, here's a there's a name, and there's a person, there's a coach.
Yeah. He's the grand old man of our
Yeah,
team.
yeah,
We don't have beer around in the EuroBowl team anymore, so we have to have one old timer.
yeah.
But well, he's not that old. We're almost all of us are like pushing 40 already.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, I like considering like the like I hang out in the OCC Discord, and
yeah.
I am pretty much always the youngest person there. And
Right.
like same thing with like when like wherever I've been playing Blood Bowl, like I just
Hmm.
like I generally like you give like you put a plus 10 on the on like my
Yeah.
age, and you start getting into the other guys. So uh
Yeah, it's I think because it's been around for so long,
mm,
and the people playing it have been very fanatic about it, and they've been playing it since the 80s or 90s.
mhm
And Rat Ogre is one of those guys, but he's not no slouch in that he's been training a lot, and he's one of our most active guys.
mm,
So
mm,
and he's been playing undead very solidly, especially in international scenes. He's
mm.
been really good. He managed to. He almost. I think he was this. I don't remember. Was it in Wales? I think he was in top 10. I think in the single
Individuals.
yeah
Yeah.
individuals in with undead, and he's a good guy as well.
Mm-mm.
Well, of course, all of us are.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, definitely wouldn't want to be calling my teammates out like on like live on stream. Like that would be a little unprecedented, certainly.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah.
Well, don't worry. We'll get to Sex Machine next. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Uh, but yeah, the roster is looking actually quite different from like the
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
undead rosters. So like both blitzers with guard, no skills on the mummies, and just
Hmm.
block all around for the ghouls.
Right. I think because a very popular way of building is with the extra skill,
Yeah.
where you have to have other skills than block or
Mhm.
wrestle.
Mhm.
But because we had to distribute the extra skill pack, we had two of them. So I took one with Amazons, and
Mm-mm.
Bruto took one with the Skaven,
Yeah.
and so there was no left for for poor Rat Ogre.
Mm-mm.
So I think he's been thinking about this for a long time, and he feels that the mummies without the guard is the better option because they're the pieces that in the end will be left behind at some point.
Yeah,
And with 4 blodge ghouls, movement 7, it's gonna go into the territory of dark elves
yeah.
and stuff like that. And that's why he decided to take those guys. And it's one of those it's one of those things that I haven't played as enough to really argue against that.
Mm-mm.
And if it fits his play style, I say that it's a decent build,
Yeah.
and I think everyone is gonna hate the 4 blodges.
Yeah, yeah, that's like we haven't seen like an overwhelming amount of tackle on any roster so far. So like that's gonna
Yeah,
be Yopatsuki in the chat says Rat Ogre and Juho were both in top 4 in Wales Eurobowl.
yeah, they had an amazing run in Wales.
But yeah, one of the like I can certainly understand like genuinely do understand the idea of okay, the mummies are gonna fall behind, and like they're also gonna be like one of the top priorities that the opponent is just gonna go like okay, I can sacrifice this player to just hold the mummy, right? So and the
Hmm.
guard doesn't
Right.
help them get away from that. So I can definitely understand leaving them without skills. I'm more than slightly surprised about like at least one wrestle among the ghouls. I like just to get
Yeah,
that
yeah.
or tackle like because this is one of those rosters that like I look at this and go like, well, what if the enemy is an Amazon, right? Like what if there's just like does the block actually cover that, or would you rather just have like one tackle or one wrestle to like deal with opposing blodgers?
I think I might choose a single wrestle here.
Yeah.
Um, in a way that makes your cage impregnable. Like you're gonna have blodges everywhere. You're
Mm,
gonna have everything. You're always gonna have a ghoul for carrying the ball and
yeah.
stuff like that. But um, I like one wrestle just because of the blodges themselves.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that he chose, and that's
Yep.
his that's his choice. So
Yep. That is definitely the coach's prerogative, and like if he thinks that this is the roster to play the best with, then this is his roster, and we'll
yeah,
just have to see the results of it, like how it goes.
yeah,
Um,
and yeah.
I guess since I donated a win. Um, Robo, like that starts sounding like you actively like gave away the win rather than just not like playing poorly and him
Yeah.
winning on merit. So like, um,
School is just a bit salty against with us
oh
Finns. We've been robbing their tournaments for a few years now. We were the Swedish champs for the was it 2023? No, 22. We were
mm,
the 22 Finnish Swedish champs, and then we only managed to get silver in 23.
mm,
No, 24. Yeah, so yeah, we won in 23, and then we were
silver.
unfortunately second
Ooh,
in the team championship and this year. But there's always next year, and
yeah, yeah. I
but yeah, we
certainly approve of Finnish people being in like at the top of the Swedish championship or like
yeah
tournament ladder. So, while I got a sweet
yeah yeah
96 spot.
yeah.
All right.
And
Well,
I think I managed a win against Robo, like schooled in was it in Sala in championship, or was it I think I won him again with there was some dice involved and stuff,
mm,
but it's a win is a win.
yeah, yeah. There's always dice and walls in Blood Bowl. It's just part of the you did. Yes, I fell on the trip. Yep. Always pays to be prepared.
Yeah, that's my way of playing the game, not with skills but with dice. Yeah,
Well, we are next up. The
yeah,
long-awaited Ice Machine.
yeah. His jersey is the most sought after in the people change their jerseys in
Oh
EUROBOWL.
yeah,
So everyone wants the Sex Machine jersey. Yeah.
yeah. I'm honestly kind of surprised that like Naf allowed that to be his like actual coach name. Like kinda,
Oh,
kinda.
yeah, exactly. And especially when you see the guy and he's very different from his nickname, but I think we've learned to love him, and it gets us the
Yeah,
fame that we deserve. Yeah.
yeah. Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, looking at his Lizardmen roster, this looks like I mean, Lizardmen are one of those teams where like you look at them and like they generally just have few differences between them, and
Right.
this I would consider this to be like fairly orthodox when it comes to like a lizardman, like the Croxigore guard. We've seen that before, and I do approve of it. Like I do think that if you're having a guard, I'd rather have it on a Croxigore than a Saurus. Um,
Yeah.
and then like just the rest of the skills are gonna be block, 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 block on the Saurus, and the Skinks are
Yeah.
already as good at like they're good, like without anything. So
Yeah. I think you have to really explain, or like there's have to be a really good reason if you don't go with that or 6 blocks.
yeah,
I think that's just it's a solid team, and you need a lot of blocks for it.
yeah. I mean, I can see the argument for having one of the Saurus like with tackle rather than block, like just because
Mm,
like the like dodge is going to be like there are gonna be blodgers, and at that point, this roster does like is gonna rely on like that always so elusive POW
hmm
on. But yeah, no, it's a solid Lizardman roster, and like so long as there's a solid coach behind it, like Lizardman teams are one of those that are just like they have all the tools necessary. It's just a question of can the
Yeah.
Skinks
Yeah.
hold up? Like can they
Right.
hold up?
Yeah. And there's always like against elves, there's you need to be good that you don't give them any
Yeah.
extra blitzes against to the cage or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And good elf coach knows how to slow them down and tie them up.
Yeah.
And that's why you need all the blocks, because they're gonna do a lot of blocking.
Yep. That is certainly going to be the case. And then last but not least, we have this guy called Tonald. Can you tell me anything about him?
Yeah, he's been playing Amazons for a while, and uh, I've tried. In the end, I tried 2 different options for the roster.
Mm.
It's either this or or change the block to a guard
Mm-hmm.
on the first blocker.
Yep.
But I think there is it's either this or the 14 player roster
Mm.
without bribe and dirty player.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think in the end this is the preferable roster,
Mm.
just because you're giving up one, or depends on if you how you count it, you're giving up 1 or 2 blodges
Yep.
for this. But because what I checked, the other Amazon player, there are a lot of 14-man rosters,
Yep.
and I don't agree with that.
Mm.
Then there's I've talked about with a lot of good coaches about the 14-man roster, and I think there's just too much team value on the bench.
Okay.
It's rarely you get bashed out so hard that
Yeah.
you don't get 11 players
Yep.
when it matters. Of course, there are situations when you don't get it,
Yep.
but the what you get from the dirty player and the bribe is you cannot go as like hard into the foul without, because the guards don't work with
Yep.
fouling anymore.
Yep.
But you're gonna do a lot of fouls against, let's say, elf linemen.
Mm.
Um, whatever is you like whatever is gonna be there, like even Skaven linemen,
Mm.
why not?
Mm.
The only like positional that I have to think about, am I gonna foul it, is gonna be like a zombie or something like that.
Imperial nobility lineman, like is like he's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
Fen, sure, but like who cares?
yeah, but because you've paid for the dirty player
Yeah.
skill and the bribe, you have to use it.
Yeah.
If you don't use it, it's gonna be just a waste.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna foul whatever you're gonna give me.
Yeah. And I mean, in a tournament setting, like I found that like the dirty player as a skill when you're talking about like league setting, or even like the ranked ladder,
Mm,
it does have that sort of like, because people want to like conserve their teams because the damage lasts over. Then the dirty player has that extra little bit of maybe intimidation factor, or like sort of like, oh, I kind of want to nudge away a little bit from this. But in a tournament setting where that's not the case, you absolutely do need to use it. And like I approve of the dirty player and the bribe, because of, like, so many times have you gone for like the first foul and you're immediately sent off, and like
right.
if you don't have the foul, or if you don't have the bribe, then that's a like bunch of stuff just gone. And
Yeah. Yeah.
the dirty player does, like, obviously helps out with the, if you can't afford to give like that much like that many assists over, especially now with guard not working for the assists,
Hmm.
like just
Hmm.
gives that little bit more consistency. I heartily approve. Also heartily approve of the two wrestle
Right.
linewomen, definitely.
Yeah.
I am curious that, like, you like, is it simply because you value like bludge so highly that you went for the like block on both of the blitzers and then the blocker?
I think you need block on the team, and I think um, because the blitzers are so good players,
Mm mm
and but at the same time they're very fragile.
mm.
So even though jump up on them is kind of like built for wrestle,
Yeah
but I think the block is just because in certain matchups you want to or you even need the blitzer for carrying the ball,
yeah.
or have those magical plays that Amazons can do, and you need block for it.
Mm
And that's I think that's what it's your blitzers are your sweepers, and they're gonna do a lot of different roles,
mm mm.
and that's why I want to have one with blodge, whatever happens. So
Yeah
in many games I'm gonna get like block blitzed with, so and I'm gonna lose one of them. So
yeah
in the end I'll have two.
yeah.
And the line women are, let's say, as sackers, they're pretty good as well. They're only lacking one movement to the blitzers. So
Yeah. Have you found that, like, is the one guard enough, the blocker?
no, it's not. But you don't have the luxury of having two, I think,
Okay.
because the strength for blodger
Mm.
is just an
Yeah.
amazing piece.
Yeah.
Whatever you do with it, it's amazing. So that's why you cannot have two garters. And
Mm.
that's I know you're gonna like it's gonna be tough against, let's say, orcs.
Mm.
It's gonna be tough against different opponents, but I think on the flip side, the stuff that you get from the strength 4 blitzer, it's
Mm.
gonna help you against elves. It's gonna help you against vampires. It's
Mm.
gonna help you against a lot of different
Hybrid teams are pretty
teams.
much
Yeah,
all,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And there's just, if you put a strength 4 blodge in a cage, who's gonna take
Y-
it down or take the ball from
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I got a runner with strip ball because that's gonna be a two
him?
play like this. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's what will get you, but it's gonna be a difficult block anyway,
yeah,
or the war dancer.
or the war dancer. Yeah,
Yeah,
still a phenomenal cage diver. That
yeah,
um.
and it frees up your blitzer if you're carrying with your blocker. It frees
Mm.
up your blitzers to be to be a threat on either side. So you can have two blitzers on either side,
Mm.
and with a simple 3+ handoff, you can offer, like, you threaten all the whole yard, like pitch. So it's one of those things. It's gonna be an extra 3+ sometimes, but I think it's still worth it. But
See.
all around solid team, I love Amazons. I've been playing them since 2016. I played in them in Malta, I think.
Mm.
Did pretty average there, unfortunately, but they're a solid team, and I expect them to get a higher tier next time.
Mm.
They're just too good at the moment.
I do, like, I played the Like I have played like I like playing the Amazons when they were still like the previous ones rather than this new roster, and like I
Yeah,
do like the fact that they have made like the lineup more variable. Like it did certainly feel like that it was always just like, okay, you have movement 6, you have strength 3, you have agility 3, and then you've got like 7 plus like 8 plus
yeah, yeah.
like that armor. So I do like the fact that they've diversified it here. Makes the team
Mm.
more. Question: how do you decide which team gets a dibs on the extra skill? Like, is there like is there some kind of a forum that everyone is debating this on, making like doing math like a nerd, or is there like
It depends. Like, do you mean our Finnish team
yeah, on the
or
Finnish team specific? Like, I'm sure that there are those sorts of forums like on the internet, like it like
yeah?
yeah. So, but is there like a special sort of like debate place or like sort of meta like this is what's happening in the meta, like this should be our like for the
Um,
Finnish team and
Fortunately, not. We don't have to talk about that, but talk about or discuss it that much.
mm,
We uh, in the beginning, I think the only skill packet that we had to discuss about was the extra skill,
mm,
because that's the one that everyone wants, or at least there's multiple teams that want it.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think I think the skill packet, like on the whole, wasn't as good as they planned it,
mm,
just because there's few packs that are just better than the others.
yeah,
For example, the because some of them are very situational. You can use the stacking for vampires, but
yeah,
not so many other else. Maybe if you would have humans or maybe orcs,
yeah,
but they're just the two extra skill packet is just the best one.
yeah,
And basically, we discussed who would benefit the most out of it.
mm,
And our Skaven player Bruto got one, and I took the other.
mm,
Bruto is hands down at the moment our best player,
mm,
and we want to invest in him. That's just Skaven get a huge boost out of it.
yeah,
He's a he's a beast of a player,
mm,
um, and so that was an easy choice after we realized the effect of that it has on the team.
mm,
And I think it was down to the other skill pack was down to either me or Rat Ogre on the undead,
mm,
and I was being my using my dictatorial powers,
mm.
and I took it to myself. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
that's basically it.
yeah, I do definitely think that Skaven is like one of the teams like just like the team itself is one of those where the extra skill like shines especially much. I do think that a lot of teams probably like very similar feelings on that the Skaven player should get the extra skill.
Yeah, yeah. It makes on our case, it'll give you a leader or something, and
Yeah,
it'll just open up options for Skaven.
yeah. All right. We've probably blabbered on maybe even slightly too long about the whole team lineup. So we'll get to the next part, which is so what exactly is the aim? Like I'm assuming that every team is going out there to compete. I'm assuming that every team is like they're aiming for the like the top spot. But what would you
Mhm.
consider like a placement that you can celebrate, that you can feel like good about? Like we did well if we can get this.
Um, the Finnish team's history isn't that great, so uh, it'll be it'll affect the expectations a bit.
Mm,
I think our best position is the ninth so far in Wales.
mm, mm,
We managed to our last time in Malta was horrible. We
mm,
were, I think, 19 or something.
mm.
But I think we have pretty high expectations this time. I think I'm expecting us to be at least top 10.
Okay.
At least that's something that I want for us to have.
Mm,
I think if we get to top 3,
mm.
that is something that I'm gonna really celebrate.
Okay.
It's one of those things that it's achievable,
Yeah.
and And on a good day, I think our team can win any of their any other team
Mm,
in EuroBowl.
mm,
So, um, to be fair, if we compare ourselves to, let's say, French,
mm,
the French team or German team, are
mm,
we don't have the experience or the amount of games,
mm,
but we're so close.
mm,
We're so close, especially on our more experienced players,
mm.
that on a good day we can win any of them.
Yeah.
So it's Euroball is so high level, so there's gonna be good days and bad days.
Yeah.
And if we get the right dice on the right day, we really got a shot on top three.
Yeah. All right. Podium placement.
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously, again, as I said, I'm biased. I am gonna be cheering you on as, especially when you go against Sweden. Like I will be shouting it from the rooftops if you win. Uh, and
Yeah.
there will be tar and feathers if you don't. So like I think,
Yeah, and of course we're gonna win the Nordics.
yeah.
That's given. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If we get Sweden, even Denmark, they might have won a Euro Bowl, but give me a chance. Give me a break. It's just it's not a competition really.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
good words of confidence there. Uh, but
Yeah,
yeah.
we have more like like Swedish like championships in our team than they have in their Swedish team. So so yeah, it's gonna be definitely our win in that case.
Yeah. Looking forward to that certainly.
Yeah.
Um, all right. I think with that, like, I think your aims are pretty clear. I think you mentioned several teams that you considered like top contenders as well.
Hmm.
So I think the next thing that we're going to look is we're going to look at your round one opponents, and that is Cyprus.
Indeed.
Um, have you any like previous experience of playing the Cypriots?
I think there are a very new team that it's a combination of Cyprus and like coaches from Cyprus, and I think they're not sure if they're Russian or
Mm,
whatever, but it's a combination of let's say probably online or
mm,
newer coaches.
mm, mm.
So I think we're favored here. I don't want to like talk trash too
Yeah,
much
yeah,
about
yeah,
them,
yeah.
but only about Swedes. There
That's
I'm gonna
fine. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but I think we're favored here.
Mm,
I think, but let's see. There's a lot of dice to be rolled before it comes to that. I don't know any of them.
yeah.
I haven't seen their online, seen them online or anywhere. So I really don't know that much about them. I've tried to go through all the databases that are public
Mm, mm,
for their match results and stuff like that. But
mm,
unfortunately, there is not much to be like seen. So that probably means that they aren't super experienced,
yeah.
but I don't know.
Yeah. Petbad commented that the top 10 is going to be cramped apparently for
Yeah.
this. Yeah, certainly. Certainly, like several teams hunkering to get up there. No doubt about that. But yeah, just looking at like taking a brief look, since we don't really know much about the coaches, just taking a brief look at the rosters on offer here.
Yep.
We do have a fairly similar lineup, except that that is a block on the Witch Elf, rather than like just one block and one wrestle on the Witch Elves.
Yep.
Otherwise, looks to be exactly the same.
Pretty vanilla, yeah.
Yeah. Uh, so we'll see how that particular pans out. I'm obviously like again more of a fan of having the one block rather than two wrestles, but there are certainly good arguments for wrestle witches.
Hmm.
Lizardman. This is
A bit funky.
yeah, deviation here. No guard to be found. We do have a tackle and a strip ball for a Saurus each.
Yeah.
Uh,
But it just tells how set in stone is like the Lizardman roster is,
yeah.
that when you see tackle on straight ball, you're gonna think that, okay, this guy's crazy, or
Mm,
this is something weird or something like that. But
yeah.
it might work.
It,
It's a bit more unreliable
mm,
than your traditional roster,
yeah.
but it depends on the dice, I guess.
Yeah, certainly does. It is just one of those things that, like, uh, putting both tackle and strip ball on a Saurus when they don't have a way to like extricate themselves very reliably of like it like tackle and strip ball makes sense on players that can dodge away on a 3+, not really on a player that like that dodges away on a 6+. Uh,
Mhm.
so like I'm a little hesitant. Like I like the one tackle in the Saurus lineup, but I do think that like the Croxy or a Saurus should have a guard rather than like tackle and strip ball. But
Yeah, I think that might be. That's just my like. I think that might be that he's a bit newer coach.
mm.
Hard to say.
Then we have Blinky, 182 coaching the vampires. We have two blitzers here.
Yeah,
Block on one, nothing on the other. Block dodges on the throwers and dodges on the vampire runners. And one assistant coach, 4 teamer. Um, yeah, I mean, I can't say that I
only.
hate this roster.
Yeah, I think the biggest drawback is it's just 13 players.
Yeah,
If I counted correctly.
yeah,
It's a solid team, and depending on the bloodlusts,
yeah.
it might be a decent
Yeah, I mean
roster. But
that is the trade off here, and it's only 13 players, and now you have 6 vampires rather than the 5. So the bloodlust is
yeah,
going to, statistically speaking, is going to kick in more often. But then again, it does mean that you have another vampire line, and if the bloodlust doesn't kick in, then like that is going to could well shift the game in your favor. Um,
yeah, and they as well they have the two blodgers,
yeah,
so it's a solid team anyway.
yeah. Dominator, dwarves. Um,
They're
Guard, guard,
traditional, yeah,
guard, guard, guard.
and
Mighty blow on a lineman. All right.
and a roller, death roller. I
A death
love it.
roller
I love it. I love
and
it.
no troll slayers at all.
Yeah, yeah.
This
When you get
is
when you get the death roller, you're gonna have to cut some
yeah.
positions. Yeah,
No, I am
I
slightly.
love it. I played death roller in
Mm,
World Cup, and I loved it
mhm,
with a bribe. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That was the
yeah. The
shit. Let's say. Yeah,
the problem here is that he has no bribe. That like that's going to that might well
yeah. You
bite
cannot.
him.
Yeah, you can't have any the bribe anymore because it was just
Yeah,
too good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the
Uh, But
well,
there's gonna be a one really difficult drive against his opponents.
yeah,
That roller is such a pain.
yeah. It can like it has a very dominating presence on the field. So
Yeah,
it is just a question of like, can he use it effectively enough to both like justify the price point and the fact that he's gonna get sent off like when the ball like it's whistled next time.
yeah.
It's
You have to score
yeah,
with the or either get a successful defense on
yeah,
the roller drive,
yeah,
or either you just don't win.
yeah. Mushroom Cloud, Amazons, guard, block wrestle, and then block for the thrower, block for 2 Leiden women, one Bloodweiser keg, and 3 rerolls. Um, hmm. I mean, the 2 guard are there. Like, I understand the reasoning on that, but like, you kind of convinced me on having block on both of the blitzers, and then the
Yeah,
thrower
I like it.
having
Yeah.
block. I mean, I guess
Um.
if you don't need the leader, then sure.
Yeah. I think because he has 13 player
Yeah,
roster, so he'll have the reroll
yeah,
money for the rerolls. Um. It's a decent roster. There's nothing too crazy about it. I kind of love the Bloodweiser keg,
mm,
but at the same time, I think it's a bit extra
yeah.
with so many players. But at the same time, it's something that I would love to have.
Yeah, no,
But
the blocker on the thrower is just one of those things for me. Is that like I would prefer to have that block or as probably as a wrestle on one of the line women instead, because like in
yeah,
my head, like the thrower is like the least likely piece to be like either blocked or needing to block. So,
yeah,
but I can also understand it from like the case of like, okay, the thrower is probably going to be the person going to be picking up the ball and potentially even running with the ball. So having that be a blodger as well, all good. Um,
yeah. Exactly what I would have said, that there is a case to be said for to have the block on the thrower,
Yeah.
but I think it's still more it's still better to have it on a line woman
Yeah. All right. Zagrit, Gaven. Nothing on the thrower, nothing on the rat
or the
ogre.
ogre.
Yep.
That's
Guard
weird.
guard tackle for the blitzers, which is the way, I guess. A block, wrestle, kick line rat, and 3
Mm,
rerolls.
It's a bit different, yeah.
It's slightly different. I'm like I'm not sure how to feel about the gutter run. Like the rat ogre, I think it just needs the juggernaut. I
It
don't
does, yeah.
like I cannot see myself justifying like picking up a rat ogre and not giving it juggernaut. Given I just don't see it personally.
Yeah, the same.
Uh, and then like then he has 2 bludgers for the gutter runners, which is fine. But then he has 2 wrestlers for the gutter runners. No no strip ball, no
hmm
sidestep. Is that's also a little bit, I feel a little bit suspect.
I think again I would say that it probably says that it's a bit newer coach.
Mm,
That's I don't know the guy, but
yeah,
I don't understand the skill choices
yeah.
either way. That's the only explanation for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, no, I was thinking that maybe if he's played a lot in like an online environment, like this might be like, because it does like online
Yeah, yeah,
is different to a tournament environment, but it's
yeah,
still one of those where like a gutter runner with sidestep, it just makes the one turner so much better to do for the Skaven
yeah.
lineup.
That's true. Yeah,
So
yeah, and it'll offer you a
yeah,
flexibility in one turning and other
yeah,
stuff as well. Yeah,
yeah, but yeah, uh, there's Thara, I think.
there's Nara. Yeah,
We have Shambling Undead, one guard on a mummy, the other one not skilled. Guard tackle for the blitzers, block,
yeah,
sure hands, wrestle, go. Bloodwiser kegs, 3 reroll, and just
yeah.
I don't hate this roster. Like
Uh,
definitely,
I think the keg is a bit over the top.
yeah,
That's I think he has thought about it, like he has so much gold that he can get 13 players,
yeah,
but still I think the keg is a bit over the top.
yeah. I would agree on that. Like I do definitely like the the sure hands. I understand on the but
hmm
I think I would probably like, if I'm going like with the ghouls, I would probably go like okay, sure hands ghoul 1, 2 blocks, and then 1 wrestle rather than 2 wrestle on. But I think like the wrestle to me speaks to a more aggressive play style than what we're probably gonna like like if you went for 2 blocks and 1 wrestle instead. Because like to me wrestle is always more of a I'm gonna come to you and I'm gonna inconvenience you like your block pieces by wrestling them down, sort of a, especially when it's
Yeah,
in a goal run.
yeah, probably.
All right, and then last but not least, we have Zer Schmetterlin, and he's
Isn't that like a butterfly in
yeah
German?
Schmetterling, I believe.
Schmetterling,
Yeah,
yeah.
Schmetterling, I believe is German for butterfly. I don't.
Right.
So, and they are bringing a roster that we did not have in the Finnish team. Um,
Orcs.
yeah, orcs,
Yeah.
and this looks like about what I expected of an orc like this is like he went full on for the brawl with these
Yeah,
orcs.
yeah. I love it. Yeah, this is just solid all around.
Yeah.
Um I've played a bit of our orcs as well.
Mm,
I think the problem is that we don't have the EUROBOWL level orc player, and
mm,
that's why we don't have orcs on our team.
yeah.
But I really like orcs. It's just a solid team all around, and I love this build. There's really nothing bad to say about it. Some
Yeah.
people don't like the thrower.
Yeah.
I personally love it.
Mm.
Um,
I mean,
but
it's a pun. Smetterling is butterfly. Zer Schmetterling means smash from Bork here in the chat. Apparently.
okay,
Okay, I get it.
the
Uh,
Schmetten.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Fair enough, and good to know.
yeah,
Uh,
especially for against who is playing against, so they
yeah,
can enjoy this pun.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, this like I'm personally anti-orc as just a whole. Like I genuinely
Sure.
think that orcs is one of those teams that like could do with maybe a little bit of like nudge backwards. But then again,
Yeah.
I'm personally like I'm an imperial nobility coach by trade, so I'm also one of those like need the imperial nobility to get up a little bit, like
Right.
so like and like orcs are one of my biggest sort of uh like headaches if I'm playing an imperial nobility team, just because of like they have both the strength to bully me, they have the block and like the speed on the blitzers to
hmm
not really get outpaced by me either, and then they have
Right.
the armor to take the hits where I don't. So it's
Yeah.
like yeah, so yeah.
All you have stand firm. So
Yeah, I have stand
is
firm until they get removed by the orcs.
right. I think Orcs is just they're a classic, really all around good team. There's nothing too fancy about them. There's nothing
Yeah.
extra special about them, but they're
Yeah.
just good.
Yeah, it is one of those things where like when the orcs and black orcs were like separated, right? And then like I figured that okay, the black orcs probably are gonna be the better version. But no, the big and blocker is actually probably better just because they got that
Yeah,
movement
yeah, yeah.
upgraded, like and just like go like, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense, does it? Um
Right. Yeah.
but yeah, Bork asks in the chat, is this also the extra skill package on the team? And yes,
I think no, there
no,
isn't. They, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
7.
6, 7. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
They have 7 on tier 2 because
oh
orcs are
yeah,
tier 2.
orcs are tier 2. Why are they
Yeah,
tier 2?
yeah. I don't know why they're tier 2. They're gonna be on tier 1 next
Yeah,
top.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and then in the next packet, pretty
Yeah.
sure.
Okay. Um, But yeah, no, this again, as like neither of us have any like I have never heard of these coaches before either. Like does not ring a bell on like the online version, so can't really talk
Yeah,
about that. But like they're definitely they're bringing different looking rosters. Like some of them are more traditional. Like the orc roster is certainly very traditional in what it wants to do, but there are
yeah.
also like more like differences here, which will be interesting to see how they fare. Like from my experience and your experience, we're less inclined to like we don't really like the sort of changes, I guess, or the
Mm.
differences. Like we prefer the Finnish team versions over the Cypriot ones, like for the
I
corresponding.
I think we have a bit better rosters, but it's
Yeah,
I think it's gonna go down to, let's say, how experienced the coaches are,
yeah,
because and it's hard to say on that because we don't know them.
yeah. From Bork again. Der Schmetterling was at Hammerbowl. If he fair enough, fair enough. So he has at least some. If we assume that he is a Cypriot. No, I am mistaken. All right, good that you caught it then. Fair enough. But yeah, so Cyprus could well turn out to be like the dark horse, since there doesn't seem to be that much info about them or their
Yeah,
accolades.
yeah,
So the coaches themselves are definitely going to be like a question mark all around, to at least
yeah,
most
indeed.
people. So all right,
But nowadays there's so many different kind of online places where to play Blood Bowl.
yeah,
There's always a chance of someone surprising you. So
yeah,
we cannot count him out in any way,
yeah,
in any sort of fashion. So it's just let's see. I'm hoping we do good. We're gonna do our best.
yeah. All right. But with that, we have already gone a little bit over the self-imposed time limit of an hour, but that's fine. If
Yeah.
is there any closing statements that you wish to make here?
I think we're gonna go for the top 3, of course.
Mm.
That's given, but we're champions at the drinking part of EuroBowl, so we won that. And was it yeah, in Malta we won it, and we won a bottle of whiskey there. So I know the Swedes helped a bit, but But yeah, still that's the main opposition there. To the
Mm.
Italians tried to beat us, but they didn't manage that. So it's gonna be a tough matchup
Mm.
against, but there's 20 of us this year, or I think I think 19, or no, actually 20. Yeah, one of them got sick, but we have one extra player,
Nice, nice.
so there's gonna be a tough matchup in that part.
Yeah. Certainly something else to also look forward to in addition to the bubble itself.
Yeah, it's one of those classic beer moments that I don't remember. Was it in Portugal? There was a stream going on in the table one, and
Mm.
then there was people discussing the game there, and then you could from time to time you could hear the huge yelling of beer, and then the announcer words just said like, okay, that's beer, get used to it. he, he- he's one of those characters, and we're gonna bring him. He's one of the open teams, so
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he's our secret weapon. Yeah,
Well, good to hear that even if he's not on the EuroBowl team itself, he's at least a spiritual guide and protector for the Finnish team.
indeed, he's that 2 meter tall guy who can be a bit threatening if we need him to be. Yeah.
All right. Oh, but with that, I thank you once again for joining me. Hope this sort of interview was a good time. Hope everybody else who was watching had a good time, and hope it was illuminating, because again, like, that is the primary purpose of me trying to get these interviews out, is to sort of like tell people who's actually participating in Eurobowl, like the sort of personalities, sort of sort of teams that you're gonna be. When are you going, Aku? Coming from Robo.
Unfortunately, I have kids. I have work, so I'll have to take the really short trip. So I'll be leaving on Friday in the morning, and I'm gonna come back on Tuesday. So only was it 5 days? Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
yeah. So just a short trip. So there's gonna be a lot of good times on the weekend, but not before that. But a lot of the Finns are going there tomorrow.
all right. Tomorrow already. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah,
Getting a head start there, scouting the opposition.
exactly, and maybe enjoy some of the Athens beverages and
Mm.
maybe of the sun and beaches.
Mm. I mean, from my experience, most of the time, the sun burns me, so I'm not I'm not too fond of the ball of fire in the sky. So.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly the same. I'm one of the blondest guys in the Euroball, so
Uh,
it's a bit. I enjoy the air conditioned big hall that we're gonna play in.
But I mean, as you said, like, people go there to enjoy the sun and the drinks, and like, if you don't enjoy the sun, you just enjoy the drinks more, and like, that'll balance it
Exactly.
out. All right.
Exactly.
But again, thank you everybody for watching. Hope you were entertained. We are going to be having two interviews at the very least. I'm still in talks with several team captains, but we're going to have two interviews tomorrow. One of them is going to be at 12 uh, 12 UK time, and we're going to be talking to the captain of Team England. And then we're going to be in the evening. We're going to be at 21 UK time. We are going to be talking to the captain and the vice captain of Team Wales. And so look forward to those. We also have scheduled in the Danish team captain on Wednesday at 22:00 Danish time. So hopefully everybody's looking forward to that. I'm still, as I said, there are several captains that I'm talking to, see if I can schedule them in there, and I will be adding them to the schedule on the Twitch channel as soon as I get confirmation one way or the other. But thank you everybody for watching, and as I always say, good day, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever happens to be the time of day for you. Have a good one.